Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to pay attention because today we are going to talk about something most people do not want to acknowledge, but it is critical for your life, your destiny, and your peace of mind. There are people in this world and perhaps even around you who carry a dangerous spirit. Not the kind of danger that shows up immediately. No, they are dangerous in disguise. Not the kind of dangers in disguise. They appear charming, convincing, even needy. And when you extend a hand to help them thinking you are doing a noble thing, they will not lift you up. They will destroy you if you are not careful. Now, let me be clear. Not everyone who struggles or stumbles in life is dangerous, but there are certain unmistakable signs that a person has the potential to harm anyone who tries to help them. These signs are not always obvious. They are subtle, they are hidden behind smiles, behind soft words, behind tears. But if you know what to look for, you can protect yourself, your family, and your destiny from unnecessary ruin. The first sign of a dangerous person is manipulation. They know how to twist your compassion against you. They know how to speak in ways that make you feel guilty, obligated, or needed, even when your involvement will only serve to empower their destructive patterns. You see, dangerous people are experts at identifying your weaknesses. They will identify the part of you that wants to help, the part that believes in the good in people, and they will exploit it. They will speak in a tone that makes you feel you are their savior, yet in reality, they are the ones controlling you. One of the most dangerous things you can do is try to fix someone who does not want to be fixed. You can pour water into a vessel with holes, and no matter how much water you pour, the vessel remains empty. And in the process, you exhaust yourself. Manipulative people are like that. They can never be filled, and they will drain you until there is nothing left. The Bible says, the simple believes every word, but a wise person looks deeper. You must learn to discern when your help is truly helping and when it is feeding a trap. Second sign is lack of accountability. Dangerous people never take responsibility for their actions. Everything is always someone else's fault. If they fail, it is the world's fault. If they hurt someone, it is that person's fault. If they are in trouble, it is because of external circumstances. The moment you encounter someone who never says, "I am sorry, I was wrong," beware. When a person refuses to be accountable, they are telling you that they do not operate under any moral law except their own. And if you step into their life with good intentions, hoping to guide or correct them, you will be met with resistance, anger, and manipulation. You will be blamed for things you did not do, for outcomes that are not yours to own. And in the end, you will question yourself. Dangerous people make victims out of everyone around them. They have perfected the art of creating chaos without ever acknowledging their role in it. The third sign is inconsistency. Dangerous people are not predictable. One moment they are warm, inviting, and seemingly grateful for your support. The next moment they are cold, hostile, and aggressive. They say one thing and do another. They make promises they never intend to keep. And if you try to intervene, to guide, or to correct, they will use your expectations against you. Inconsistency is not a mere personality quirk. It is a weapon. It destabilizes your mind, it clouds your judgment, and it makes you question your own reality. When you encounter someone whose behavior is a constant roller coaster, do not dismiss it as moodiness. Pay attention. The instability is a mask for something far more dangerous, a mind that cannot be trusted, a character that cannot be relied upon, and a heart that is not committed to truth. The fourth sign is emotional exploitation. Dangerous people know how to turn your emotions against you. They know how to make you feel guilty, anxious, or responsible for their happiness. They know how to create a sense of urgency that compels you to act even when acting is not in your best interest. If a person continually makes you feel that your life, your time, and your resources exist to serve them, you are not helping. You are enabling a dangerous cycle. Emotional exploitation is the silent weapon of destruction. It may not leave visible scars, but it will drain your spirit, weaken your focus, and diminish your confidence. Remember, your heart and your energy are sacred. Do not allow anyone to use them as a tool for their selfish gain. The fifth sign, and perhaps the most dangerous of all, is the refusal to be helped. This may sound contradictory. You say, if they refuse help, how are they dangerous? Let me explain. Dangerous people do not want your help. They want control. They want someone to depend on them as much as they want to depend on you, but only in ways that serve them. When you try to help, to correct, to guide, or to support them, they perceive it as an attack on their autonomy, and their response is hostility. This hostility is not just anger, it is strategic, intentional, and destructive. It is meant to break you, to dishearten you, to make you regret ever caring, to make you regret ever caring. The moment someone demonstrates that they cannot receive help without turning it into a weapon against you, you must understand you are not their savior. You are their target. And the wisest action is to protect yourself, to set boundaries, and to remove yourself from the sphere of influence that is meant to harm you. Now, I want you to hear me carefully because this is vital. You are not called to save everyone. You are not called to fix every broken person who crosses your path. Your calling, your purpose, your destiny is too precious to be sacrificed on the altar of someone else's chaos. There is a season for helping, and there is a season for protecting yourself. You must learn to distinguish the difference. Helping the right person elevates your life. Helping the wrong person diminishes it. Saving the world is not your responsibility. Saving yourself, protecting your spirit, and walking in wisdom is. Some people will appear innocent, and for a time they may even receive your help without outward resistance, but over time the true character will reveal itself. The signs I have shared, the manipulation, the lack of accountability, the inconsistency, the emotional exploitation, and the refusal to be helped, these are not temporary behaviors. They haunt. These are not temporary behaviors. Are patterns. Patterns do not lie. Patterns are the footprints of the heart. And if you ignore these footprints of the heart, and if you ignore these footprints, you will find yourself trapped in a cycle of harm and disappointment. You must be bold enough to see these signs, wise enough to respond with caution, and disciplined enough to protect yourself. You do not need to argue with every person who demonstrates these traits. You do not need to convince them of their errors. Your responsibility is to discern, to recognize, and to act in a way that preserves your peace, your energy, and your destiny. Some people will try to pull you into their storm. Do not follow them. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for choosing yourself. Do not succumb. Protecting your life is not selfish. It is strategic. It is necessary. Understand this. Danger often comes disguised as need. Those who require your help the most are not always those you should help. Some people will suck the life out of you, not because you are weak, but because they are strong in all the wrong ways. Strong in manipulation, strong in deceit, strong in emotional tyranny. To extend your hand to them is to hand over your life. Do not be naive. Be compassionate, yes, but also be discerning. Love wisely, act wisely, live wisely. Live wisely. There is no virtue in destruction disguised as service. There is no glory in sacrificing your soul for someone who will destroy you the moment you try to save them. Your life, your purpose, your vision, these are precious. They are not to be bartered or broken by the carelessness of someone who is dangerous. You will meet many people in your journey, but only a few will be worthy of your trust, your investment, and your help. Learn to recognize the signs. Trust your instincts. Guard your heart. When someone shows you who they are through manipulation, lack of accountability, inconsistency, emotional exploitation, or the refusal, be helped, believe them. Do not wait for the damage to become irreversible. Protect yourself. Distance yourself. Preserve yourself. Your life, your energy, and your destiny are too valuable to be destroyed in the attempt to save someone who refuses to be saved. Remember, discernment is not a lack of love. It is the wisdom of a person who understands that not all who ask for help are deserving of it. Some come to destroy and some come to elevate. Learn to differentiate. Protect yourself from those who will destroy your life under the guise of needing help. Walk in wisdom, live in understanding, and move forward with courage. Your peace, your purpose, and your destiny demand it. Now, let us go deeper, because understanding danger is not enough. You must also understand the method. Dangerous people operate in patterns. Dangerous people operate in patterns. They test your boundaries quietly at first, subtly, almost invisibly. You might not notice the first time they manipulate a situation, the first time they shift blame, or the first time they emotionally exploit your compassion. But small things grow. A tiny seed of deception, if nurtured, becomes a forest of destruction. And that forest does not only shade them, it darkens the light in your life. Think about it for a moment. When you try to help someone who refuses accountability, you are essentially stepping onto a battlefield with no weapons. You might come armed with love, patience, and wisdom, but they come armed with deflection, lies, and emotional traps, and even the strongest person can be wounded in such a battle. The problem is that most people do not recognize the battlefield until it is too late. They are already entangled, already caught in the web, already exhausted. And then they wonder, why did this happen to me? It happened because you ignored the signs. Some people will make you feel that your discernment is harsh. They will accuse you of being cold, uncaring, or judgmental. But listen to me. The one who destroys under the guise of needing help is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to preserve your life and your destiny. Wisdom does not always appear polite or kind. Wisdom often appears as a boundary. Wisdom often appears as a firm no. And those who cannot accept your boundaries will eventually reveal their true nature, and you will be glad you did not ignore it. You see, dangerous people are not merely challenging, they are contagious. Their negativity spreads like a virus. Their manipulation seeps into your thoughts. Their emotional exploitation weakens your faith in your own judgment. And the refusal to be helped becomes a chain that can trap you in cycles of frustration, guilt, and exhaustion. To help someone who does not want help is to sacrifice your energy for nothing. It is like pouring oil into a fire that will never burn your way. It will only consume you. And here is another truth that many overlook. Dangerous people thrive on loyalty that is misplaced. They do not respect your time, your effort, or your integrity. They measure love by what you give them, not by how you respect yourself. When you attempt to guide them, they turn your guidance into a weapon against you. They will twist your words, misinterpret your intentions, and find ways to blame you for their failures. If you do not see this early, it will erode your confidence. If you do not see this early, it will erode your confidence. You will begin to question your judgment, your motives, and even your worth. Now, I want you to understand something powerful. You can recognize a dangerous person not only by what they do, but by how you feel around them. If you consistently feel drained, anxious, or uneasy in their presence, it is not in your imagination. Danger leaves a mark on your spirit before it ever leaves a mark on your life. Your intuition is a gift. God gave it to you for protection, not just for decision-making in mundane matters. If you ignore it a divine warning. If you act on it wisely, you preserve the path to your destiny. There are people who will present themselves as victims, as those in need of help, as those who are misunderstood or unfairly treated. And for a moment you may feel compelled to intervene. But you must ask yourself, does this person want change? Or do they want control? Do they want guidance, or do they want to manipulate me? Because the moment you cross the line into enabling them, you step into a trap that has no exit. Dangerous people are experts at converting compassion into chains. They will chain your time, your energy, and eventually your peace. And here is the most insidious aspect. Dangerous people often have the ability to charm others, to appear innocent, to appear virtuous. They may smile, they may cry, they may speak words that sound heartfelt. And this is why so many fall into their trap. They hide behind appearances. They hide behind the words. They hide behind a facade that is convincing, even disarming. But actions never lie. Consistent patterns reveal their true character. If someone continually manipulates, refuses accountability, shifts from warmth to coldness, exploits your emotions, and cannot accept help, do not be fooled by charm. Do not be deceived by appearance. Look deeper. Look at the pattern. The pattern never lies. And as you continue to observe, notice how dangerous people respond when confronted. Do not expect humility. Do not expect acknowledgement. Do not expect gratitude. Expect hostility. Expect hostility. Expect blame shifting. Expect cunning. This is why you must always approach such situations with strategy. If you choose to engage, do so with awareness. But the wisest course is often to disengage entirely. Protect your mind, protect your heart, protect your destiny. Some battles are not meant to be fought. Some wars are meant to be avoided. Some wars are meant to be avoided. You must understand that your life is sacred. Your purpose is not to serve as the teacher, the guide, or the rescuer for those who refuse to be helped. Some people are dangerous not because they are evil. They are dangerous because their patterns are incompatible with growth, wisdom, and accountability. To step into their chaos is to invite unnecessary ruin. And yet, many of us fail to see this. We think we can fix them. We think we can guide them. We think our love will be enough. Love is powerful, but discernment is essential. Love without discernment is a recipe for destruction. Even when you try to set boundaries, dangerous people often resist. They test you in subtle ways. They will attempt to make you question your intentions. They will challenge your patience. They will push limits to see how far they can go. And when they succeed, They will take what you have given and use it to diminish your spirit. This is why awareness and early recognition of these 5 signs are critical. Do not wait until the damage is done. Learn to read the patterns and act before the storm reaches you. Now think about this carefully. Dangerous people are masters of deception, not just of others, but even of themselves. They often convince themselves that their manipulation is justified, that their refusal to accept help is righteous, that their shifting moods are simply the world being unfair, and when you try to intervene, they will turn your good intentions into a weapon. They will make you feel guilty for caring, for noticing, for acting in love. And this is where many people fall. They start to question their own morality, their own kindness, their own ability to judge character. But the truth is simple. Not everyone who asks for help deserves it, and not everyone who is difficult is waiting to be saved. Pay attention to how they speak. Dangerous people often speak in absolutes, with certainty about things they cannot possibly know. They are quick to condemn others, quick to accuse, quick to place blame. Their words are sharp, but they are also seductive. At first, you may admire their conviction, their confidence. You may even feel drawn to their passion. But over time, you begin to see the edge in their words, the subtle attack in their praise, the way they manipulate conversations to always come out on top. They are skilled at making you feel wrong even when you are right. And this is the hallmark of danger. They create doubt in your mind while elevating themselves in your eyes. And then there is the pattern of dependency. Dangerous people often want to create dependence on you, not mutual support, not partnership, but complete reliance on your energy, your attention, your resources. They will cultivate crises, real or imagined, that require you to step in. At first it may seem like you are being needed, like your life has meaning because you are helping someone. But over time, this dependency becomes a cage. You are no longer helping, you are trapped. And the more you give, the more they take, until your own life begins to shrink in the shadow of their chaos. And the more they take, until your own life begins to shrink in the shadow of their chaos. You see, one of the most overlooked truths is this: helping someone who refuses help is not noble, it is destructive, and yet we have been taught to believe that caring always means sacrificing ourselves. That is not wisdom, that is conditioning. True wisdom recognizes when a person is beyond your ability to influence positively. True wisdom recognizes that some people will reject your help no matter how pure your intentions are. True wisdom understands that you can offer support without surrendering your life to someone else's pattern of destruction. And let us not forget how dangerous people handle secours. So if you try to elevate them, guide them, or assist them toward progress, they often sabotage themselves or you. They may appear grateful, but deep down, there is a resistance, a fear of change, a fear of accountability, a fear of losing control. They will turn even your guidance into a measure of failure, blaming you for their inability to follow through. It is not about you, it is about the pattern of danger that exists within them. And the moment you fail to recognize this pattern, you step into the line of fire. Notice how dangerous people often have a circle of enablers. They surround themselves with those who excuse their behavior, who validate their refusal to change, who feed their illusions. And when you enter their circle, when you try to bring clarity or accountability, you are seen as an intruder, a threat, a challenger. Their reaction will be swift and calculated. It is not personal, it is structural. They are protecting their pattern, and you unfortunately become a target because you threaten the system they have built. I want you to hear me clearly. This is not about judging people harshly. This is about protecting your life and your destiny. There are some people who will never change because they cannot change. They do not have the capacity to see beyond their patterns, beyond their need for control, beyond their destructive cycles. And when you attempt to intervene without discernment, you will be caught in the gravity of their chaos. You will feel drained, frustrated, and defeated. But when you act with awareness, when you recognize the signs early, when you protect your boundaries, you preserve your energy, your vision, and your future. And here is something else that must be understood. Dangerous people often have a gift of charm and persuasion. They know how to make you feel special, chosen, even indispensable. And this is why so many fall. You believe that your involvement is transformative, that your care will awaken goodness, that your guidance will finally break the cycle. But transformation requires willingness on both sides. And when willingness is absent, All that is left is destruction. Yours, not theirs. What stops in yours, not theirs. You must also notice the pattern of crises. Dangerous people often live in constant turmoil. It is not accidental, it is intentional. They create chaos because chaos gives them control, drama gives them influence, and instability gives them power over others' emotions. And instability gives them power over others' emotions. And if you step into this cycle thinking your presence will calm the storm, you will discover that storms are not calmed. They are endured, repeated, and intensified. The danger is not just in what they do, it is in the environment they create around you. And if you do not recognize it, you will find yourself losing not just your time, not just your peace, but your sense of self. And yet, there is something remarkable about this: the ability to discern, the ability to read a person's patterns, to detect manipulation, to sense emotional exploitation, to recognize refusal to accept help is a gift. It is not cynicism, it is wisdom. It is not fear, it is insight. And when you cultivate this ability, when you act on it, you protect your spirit, you preserve your destiny, you learn to walk in love without being naive, to care without being consumed, to help without being destroyed. Now understand this clearly. Not everyone will like your discernment. Not everyone will appreciate your boundaries. Some will label you as harsh, unkind, or uncaring. But I tell you this, those who are meant to walk in truth with you will respect your wisdom. Those who are meant to align with your purpose will honor your boundaries, will honor your boundaries. And those who are dangerous will reveal themselves fully over time. The signs I have shared are not fleeting behaviors. They are patterns. They are footprints of character. And if you ignore them, you will find yourself trapped. So you see, another thing you must pay attention to is how dangerous people handle your generosity. They will test it, stretch it, and exploit it, always pushing the limits to see how much you are willing to give. And if you are not careful, your generosity becomes their entitlement. They will take what you offer and turn it into expectation. What once was your choice to give freely becomes their right to demand, and if you resist, you are met with resistance, manipulation, and sometimes even hostility. This is why discernment and generosity is crucial. It is not wrong to help, but it is unwise to give without awareness. Your resources, your time, your energy, they are sacred. Treat them as such. And think about their patterns of persuasion. Dangerous people often speak in ways that make you feel indispensable. They will remind you constantly of how much they need you, how much the world needs your intervention, how much they cannot survive without your support. And slowly, very subtly, they start to condition your mind to think that saying no is selfish, that your boundaries are cruel, that your wisdom is lacking if you do not give in. You are not selfish. You are not cruel. You are wise. And recognizing this distinction is what protects your life from being derailed by someone else's chaos. Notice also the pattern of deflection. When you attempt to bring accountability or to clarify boundaries, they redirect the conversation. Suddenly, it is no longer about their behavior, but about your mistakes, your shortcomings, your failures. They will make you feel responsible for the consequences of their actions, as though their refusal to change is your fault. This is not subtle, it is deliberate. They are testing whether they can bend your reality, twist your mind, and control your emotions. And if you fail to recognize this, you begin to internalize blame, and your energy, your peace, your confidence all start to erode. Let me tell you something powerful. The truly dangerous person will never thank you. The dangerous person will never acknowledge your efforts. The dangerous person will never see the value you bring to their life. Instead, they will seek ways to undermine your authority, diminish your influence, or provoke a reaction from you that they can later exploit. And this is the trap so many fall into. They believe that effort equals reward, that good intentions equal transformation, that love equals change. And sometimes love does not equal change, especially when the heart is closed, the mind is fixed, and the soul is resistant. You must also understand the way dangerous people create division. They will attempt to isolate you from others who might offer support, from friends who might give perspective, from family who might protect your boundaries. They know that if you are alone with them, if you are dependent emotionally or mentally, they can manipulate you more effectively. They are not merely dangerous. They are not merely dangerous. They are strategic. They calculate, they plan, they observe, and they exploit. And if you are unaware, you will find yourself trapped in a cycle where the energy you give is returned as confusion, stress, and sometimes even shame. And then There is the pattern of entanglement in secrets. Dangerous people often test your loyalty by sharing information with you, information designed to confuse or implicate you. They will tell you stories that position them as victims or martyrs, and they will expect you to align with them. And if you hesitate, if you question, if you challenge, suddenly you are the antagonist. Suddenly you are the antagonist. The skill of a dangerous person is in twisting perception. They turn the truth upside down. And if you will not care, you will start questioning your own judgment, your own morality, your own instincts. Pay attention also to their response to truth. A person who is capable of growth, capable of change, will receive feedback, reflect, and consider. But a dangerous person will attack, deflect, or minimize the truth. They cannot see their errors because it conflicts with the narrative they have constructed about themselves. And the moment you attempt to correct or guide them, they weaponize your words, your intentions, and even your concern. And many of us, wanting to do the right thing, fall into the trap, believing that confrontation will bring clarity. It does not. It only reveals the depth of danger and the need for boundaries. Furthermore, observe the subtle ways they test your limits emotionally. They will provoke, challenge, and manipulate situations to see how much you can endure. They measure your patience, your empathy, your willingness to compromise. And once they find your threshold, they push just beyond it. Over time, this erodes your spirit, your resilience, and your confidence in your ability to discern rightly. And yet people often stay too long, believing their care will eventually change the outcome. The reality is simple. Some people are designed to resist change, to reject accountability, and to thrive on the compromise of others. And one more thing to understand, dangerous people are rarely static. They adapt, they learn, they evolve their tactics. What worked to influence you yesterday may not work today, and tomorrow they will adjust again. Their strategies are dynamic, and their intentions are consistent to secure control, to manipulate, and to maintain power over those who attempt to help. And if you are unaware, you will constantly be caught off guard, feeling like you are failing, even though you are failing, even though you are acting with wisdom and integrity. Now consider the spiritual dimension of this. Some people are not just challenging, they are dangerous because they carry a level of spiritual blindness that makes them impervious to correction, resistant to wisdom, and destructive to those who come near them. And in such cases, your attempts to guide, to counsel, or to correct are not just ineffective, they are invitations for conflict. And while it may be hard to accept, you must recognize that wisdom is knowing when to engage and when to protect yourself. Love without discernment can become your undoing. Notice too the pattern of repetition. Dangerous people do not change their behavior easily. They cycle through the same mistakes, the same manipulations, the same emotional tests. And each time they become more skilled at hiding it, more subtle in their tactics, and more persistent in their patterns. If you think that your presence will break the cycle, think again. Patterns are not broken by desire. They are broken by accountability, willingness, and self-awareness. And when those are absent, your involvement only strengthens the cycle. So now, what must you do? You must walk in wisdom. You must honor your discernment. You must protect your energy, your peace, and your destiny. Not everyone who asks for help deserves it. Not everyone who asks for help deserves it. Not everyone who appears needy is meant to be saved. There are those whose patterns are destructive, whose hearts are closed, and whose presence in your life is a threat, not a blessing. Do not be deceived by charm, manipulated by tears, or trapped by guilt. The moment you recognize manipulation, inconsistency, lack of accountability, emotional exploitation, or refusal to accept help, do not hesitate. Set your boundaries, protect yourself, remove yourself from their destructive orbit. Doing so is not selfish, it is necessary. It is strategic. It is the courage to preserve the life God has entrusted to you. Remember this, your purpose is too valuable to be sacrificed. Your peace is too precious to be bartered. Your destiny is too sacred to be bartered. Your destiny is too sacred to be derailed by someone who will destroy you if you try to save them. Love wisely, act wisely, discern wisely, and never forget that the greatest act of strength is not to fight every battle, but to know which battles are yours and which ones are traps that would only destroy you. Protect yourself, guard your heart, and walk boldly in the life you are meant to live.